In 1969, I was promoted to game warden in charge of a national park, and I was appointed in charge of the Gonarejo National Park. Meanwhile, I had been living at Binga on the top end of Lake Kariba for 4 years, and it was 600 miles away from Balota, way down at the bottom end of the country, and we had a long journey to put everybody, dump all our personal katunda, all our personal belongings, bedding and things like that, all our clothes, into my short wheelbase Land Rover. And then my wife and I and my son Mark, who was then 4 years old, and Karen, who was less than a year old then, we all went down in one vehicle right the way down to the bottom end of the country. It took us all day to get down there. We stayed with friends in Bulawayo for the night, and then we carried on from there down to the bottom, to the Gonarejo. And it was as hot as hell. It's just above Kruger National Park, the Gonarejo. So we had the same kind of temperatures that you get in Kruger National Park. And we pitched up down there, exquisitely hot. And there was one young game ranger there waiting for us to assist us. He was a member of my staff then, my new staff. And we arrived there and parked next to the prefab building, which was to be our home for the next 5 years, and took all the stuff out of our vehicle. My ranger there had local game scouts who helped unpack all our stuff and put it into the house, and then we went onto the lawn to have a meal and to have drinks on the lawn. We set the sprays on the lawn because it was so exquisitely hot, and we had two little dogs. One was a Daxi and one was a cardigan corgi. Looks like a bit like a collie dog. It's got long hair. It's not like the Queen's dogs, which are short-haired and a short tail. Anyway, we were preparing a meal and opened up beers, and we had beers, and we were sitting down and relaxing on the lawn, which was nice in the shade. It was a beautiful sight. And Mark took off with the one dog, the one cardigan corgi, and started running around the lawn through the water sprays on the lawn to get cool. And then eventually ran around the back of the house, and then he disappeared. We didn't know where he'd gone. And shortly after that, he came running up from the river. Right in front of us was a big pool of water. There was a rock barrier across the river, and it was acted like a waterfall. The water, when it rained and big floods came down, it used to go over the top of this rock, and then scour out the river sand at the bottom. So at this time of the year, that scoured out area was full of water because the water from under the sand had come into the open, and there was this pool of water. We were actually sitting down looking at it, and Mark went behind us, and he went down to the river with the cardigan dog, with the little doggy, and they ran along the bottom of the pool, and the dog was obviously exquisitely hot because it dropped into the water, lay flat in the water to cool off. And while it was waiting there, and Mark standing at the water looking up at us on the lawn, the next thing, there was a big splash of water, and the cardigan corgi was gone. There had been a big croc in this pool. It came out of the water, took the dog, and in swirling around to try and get back into the main pool, it threw water with its tail all over the top of Mark, and he was soaked to the skin. He then came running up to us as white as a sheet, and didn't know what to do with himself. He was so frightened. But that croc damn nearly took our son there at that age. And that little doggy, if it hadn't been for the dog, he wouldn't be here today.